Do you need a miracle in your life but feel like there's so many things standing in your way? Well, our next guest is passionate about helping people move beyond disappointment so they can step into faith and experience the power of God like never before. Brandi Belt and her husband lead Overflow Global Ministries in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and she carries the miraculous power of God's presence and desires to see her generation reach with the reality of the gospel. Brandi, we're so glad that you're joining us on Hope today.
I'm so glad to be here, and I'm excited to see what God's going to do during the broadcast, where people watching are even going to experience the miracle that they need during the show.
Yeah, right now, like, people are so hungry, so many people are hurting. And before we dive into this thing of miracles, can you just share a little bit about yourself and the ministry and the work that you do?
Yeah, I grew up in more of a conservative background, and just as I was in my early 20s trying to figure out, is God really real, who he says he is in the Bible, and went on a journey to realize that he is not only a real but alive today and active and moving in power. And so out of that, my husband and I started some churches. We've planted some churches and run a ministry getting to touch people around the world, helping them really experience the power of God.
And Brandi, so amazing, like, so many people are hungry to experience the power of God, to move and flow in their lives. Have you personally experienced the manifested presence of him just touching you in a miraculous way?
So many times and in so many ways. I am even reminded of a miracle now where just recently I was on a Zoom, with everything shut down. It was hard to reach people, together. And on a Zoom, there was a woman on the call who had an issue with her cheek. And as we were talking on the phone, she said, "Would you just pray for my cheek?" So I prayed the first time. She said, "It's getting better, but I'm not sure it's 100%. So we prayed a second time. And she actually went and was able to brush her teeth for the first time in 4 weeks, just because the power of God, it didn't mean that we had to be together. We could be across, nations. She was actually in Ireland. But God still moved, and he's doing it today with everyone around the world within the body of Christ.
Brandi, like what you're talking about, like these creative miracles that God is doing, I know there's so many people that are hungry and want to see it. What are some other creative miracles or things that you've just seen God just touch the life of somebody and just miraculously just transform their whole situation?
Definitely. We just had recently a woman who had lupus come to a meeting that we were doing, and we prayed for her, and she said, "I'm feeling better, I'm feeling different." And then she said, I'm actually blind in one eye. Do you think if God would heal my lupus, he would heal my eye too? So we laid hands on her, and it was so fun because her face just lit up after we prayed for her. She goes, "I can see again. I can see out of my eye." And she was just so excited. We've seen deaf ears opened and blind eyes. We're seeing people, getting recreated body parts, where maybe bones will be broken, and all of a sudden, God just fuses the bone back together and they're able to walk again. So many things, and he wants to do it for everyone.
I think that's key what you said. He wants to do it for everyone, but I know there's a lot of people, a lot of our viewers, we have a prayer line that for 24/7 that we're available, that people call in, and you can call in if you need a miracle. Even right now, you can call, because we're going to have Brandi pray for just miracles and just see the manifestation of God touch your life. But Brandi, there's a lot of people that are so frustrated when it comes to needing a breakthrough, needing a miracle. What would you say is the one thing that hinders people or blocks from miracles even manifesting in people's lives?
Yeah, so I would actually say there are two big keys. One is that most people struggle with disappointment, right? If we've been in part of the body of Christ for a long time, received a lot of prayer, by the 100th time you go to get prayer, you're not really expecting God to do anything because you're so disappointed. But the reality is it's through faith and expectation that God moves. And so I want to encourage people, if you are struggling a little bit with disappointment, ask God to help you overcome that, to really begin expecting him. And then the other thing is that a lot of people live in hope instead of faith. So hope is always future focused, faith is always for now. So get into Hebrews 11 and you can kind of dig into that. But the deal is faith is always for now. And again, faith is what brings the miracle into manifestation today.
You just said something really powerful that Amber said, hope is future focused, which we all know that, but faith is for now. So what are some practical things for somebody who needs that? They're like, "Brandi, I don't know what you're talking about. I need the faith right now." What are some practical application or practical steps that somebody can have right now that they can do to walk in that faith and to see God manifest like never before?
Sure. So I would say number one is find some scriptures similar to what it is you need a miracle for, right? So if you need physical healing, if you need finances, whatever it is, you can find miracles that Jesus performed and find those and start actually reading those and say, wait a minute, he didn't speak this and it happened one day. It happened right now. Begin to study it. Begin to really declare those over yourself. And then another great thing is find a friend to agree with you. One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000, and we need each other. And so find a friend that you can grab onto and say, "Hey, will you agree with me that God's going to move right now?" And it really actually begins to stir your faith as well when you remember what God's already done for you. right? We all have a salvation experience. And so you can remember that. Most people can. And then maybe if God's already met you some way before, remember those things, because even throughout the Old Testament, God said, remember, bring to remembrance. Why? Because it stirs your faith that God can do it again now.